The UK is now a month into the Condem coalition, which was formed very easily considering the two parties are supposed to be on opposite sides of the political divide. The day after the happy marriage, the Metro, a newspaper so full of odious filth and propaganda it has to be given away, spilled the beans on the Tweedledum and Tweedledee of politics, Clegg and Cameron, the pre-selected puppets installed to condemn Britain to abject poverty as part of the New World Order socialist nightmare. The article, cut from the same cloth, confirms that anyone can indeed become Prime Minister of Britain, provided they are an Oxbridge graduate, descended from royalty, bankers, aristocrats, or preferably all three. Clegg, whose father is a chairman for the United Trust Bank, has a Russian baroness for a grandmother, and descends from an Attorney General of the Imperial Russian Senate. Cameron, meanwhile, is a direct descendant of King William IV and his mistress Dorothea Jordan, which makes him fifth cousin twice removed from the Queen. But of course this had no bearing on his appointment as PM, and is merely a coincidence. Just the sort of coincidence I've come to expect in a world where 47-storey high emergency command centres collapse at free-fall speed due to fire alone, where naked body scanners are ready to be rolled out to every Western airport within days of the so-called underwear bombers' firecracker stunt, conveniently allowing the control freak eugenicists to perform 1,000 strip searches an hour while simultaneously frying all air passengers with cancer-inducing terahertz waves which also sterilise you.
Values don't change, but times do. That is the change that I'm talking about. We can change public services. Public services, education. Education. Specialist schools, special schools. In China and India. India and China, 8 years, 8 years. Aspirations, aspiration. And courage. Courage. Million. Fringe. Never. Change again. In turn, but times, time, changing, change is marching on again. That's got to change. Change makers.
No, it doesn't surprise me that Cameron has a drop of blue blood in his veins. After all, he's been groomed for years to be Chief Executive of Britain plc, taking over from economic arsonist Gordon Brown, who sold the country's entire gold reserves to his pals for peanuts right before the worst financial crisis in human history. After performing these breathtaking feats of financial prudence, Mr. Brown has now set off for a new career at the International Monetary Fund, presumably after filching paintings, furniture and anything not nailed down from number 10 Downing Street. But that's okay, as neither Cameron nor Clegg seem to want to live there, and besides, as we go into this new era of one world governance, national parliamentary buildings are neither use nor ornament. Ironically, Cameron, who will shortly deliver an emergency budget to tackle an economic crisis created by bankers and stockbrokers, happens to be the son of a stockbroker and comes from a long line of bankers including Sir Ewen Cameron, London head of the Hong Kong Shanghai Bank. This emergency budget is just the beginning of the long, painful process of gutting the hog that has grown fat on credit cards and plastic-coated ready meals, and no doubt this chubby, pampered, self-righteous psychopath Cameron will enjoy every squeal as he sinks the blade in deeper without conscience or remorse. The only question is, how far will the public's delusion and ignorance go? How much real wealth, property, industry and resources do we have to transfer to the globalist pirates in order to repay a fictional debt that has no basis in reality?
All these new challenges are bringing together about the biggest restructuring we have ever seen, not just of the global economy, but of the global order as a whole. In 1990, another old world ended, dominated by the Cold War, and people talked then, in 1990, of a new world order. What they actually meant then was a new political order, and what was not foreseen then, but is obvious now from everything that we see and do, what we experience in every day of our life, is the sheer scale and speed and scope of globalization. And it's only now that we can begin to understand that the world order that globalization brings and what it's going to look like, it's driven forward now not just by the balance of military strength, the Cold War times, or ordinary political power. It's being driven forward by a seismic shift in economic power that we see around us. A new world is emerging. It is a new world order with significantly different and radically new challenges for the future.
Naturally, none of the three leaders discussed the workings of the casino economy on the campaign trail, as they gave lip service to social justice and democracy while sporting £5,000 haircuts and £10,000 suits, reading autocue soundbites to the hypnotised millions, who were, as usual, more concerned with the latest update stream of their Twitter and Facebook pages than anything that actually mattered. Imagine Cameron explaining fractional reserve banking to the public, a simplistic con which allows spiralling profits for bankers and diminishing returns for everybody else, as the pound gets diluted down to nothing. Imagine Brown turning his flaccid, bloodless face to the camera and telling the public that the Bank of England is actually a private company controlled by the 13 elite banking families, his lower lip doing that compulsive fish gibber thing that it does. Imagine Clegg explaining that quantitative easing is really a euphemism for printing more money out of thin air or tapping some more zeros into the computerized system of nothingness we take for currency, which only has value by virtue of the sheer pervasiveness of the myth that it has value. As this was never on the cards, they simply argued back and forth about whether it was better to take with the left hand and give with the right hand, or give with the left hand and take with the right hand. On and on they bickered, safe in the knowledge that even if the public were not dumbed down by celebrity culture, advertising, aspartame, fluoride, and a UNESCO-based education system, they would probably be too afraid to deal with the truth anyhow, and too lazy to come up with a viable alternative to the present banking Ponzi scheme, which shouldn't be too hard seeing as the present system is built like the Tower of Babel, balanced on top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Instead, we allow the elites to collapse the system at the moment of their choosing, allowing them to create maximum fear, panic and carnage so that they can bring in their new global economic system.